The forest was alive with strange sounds. Two pale moons shone above a world far from Earth. Tall black trees reached for the sky, and the ground was covered with glowing blue moss that pulsed like a heartbeat. In the distance, something moved fast, small, breathing hard, scared. It was a child. A human child. The child's clothes were torn and dirty. There were scratches on her arms and tears on her face. She ran through the trees, looking behind her again and again. Every sound made her flinch. Her breathing was fast, but she didn't stop. She knew they were close. Behind her, hidden in the dark, the hunters followed. They were not human. Their skin was gray and rough like stone. Their eyes were yellow, shining in the shadows. They were the Korth, one of the most feared alien races in the galaxy. They lived for the hunt. And tonight, they were hunting a human. The leader of the group raised a scanner. The device beeped softly, showing the heat signature of the child. She's slowing down. One of them hissed in their strange, clicking language. Weak prey. Easy to catch. The leader made a low growl. Careful, he said. Humans are not what they seem. Another alien laughed, showing sharp teeth. She's just a child. No threat. But the leader remembered the stories. Stories of human soldiers who fought even when they were outnumbered. Stories of humans who refused to die quietly. He had seen what they could do. Their rage, their madness, their courage. He looked at the small figure running through the trees and wondered, why is this one alone? The group spread out. Their armor shimmered, turning invisible. They moved like shadows, circling the child. One of them stepped on a dry branch, crack, and the child stopped. Her eyes went wide. She turned around, breathing fast. Who's there? She whispered, her voice trembling. No one answered. Only the wind moved the leaves. She looked up at the twin moons and whispered again, this time softly, as if to someone far away. Please come fast. He's coming for me. The aliens closed in. They were only meters away now. The leader raised his weapon, a long rifle that hummed with blue energy. End it quickly, he ordered. Before they could fire, the ground began to shake. A deep sound rolled across the forest, like thunder, but not from the sky. It was mechanical, heavy. The trees trembled as something massive approached. The aliens froze. What is that? One asked. The leader looked around. Scan it. But the scanners went crazy. Too much interference. The signal was strong, getting closer fast. The child turned toward the sound and smiled through her tears. He's here, she said. A bright light cut through the fog. Out of the smoke came a tall figure, metal shining under the moonlight. Step by step, it walked forward. Each step made the ground shake. It was a human soldier, covered in armor that looked like it was built for war. The helmet had glowing blue eyes, cold and focused. The armor plates were scratched and burned, proof of many battles. The aliens raised their weapons, pointing them at the figure. A deep human voice came from the suit, calm and clear. Step away from the child. The leader laughed. You dare threaten the Korth? The armored human didn't move. Last warning. Without hesitation, one alien fired. A bolt of energy hit the soldier's chest, but it bounced off like a spark against stone. Another alien fired. Another. Still no effect. The soldier lifted his arm, and a blue shield spread out, blocking every shot. The aliens shouted in confusion. What is this armor? The leader checked his scanner again. The power readings were off the scale. Impossible, he said. His voice shook. It's him. The ghost of Titan War. The others froze. Every Korth soldier knew that name. A human warrior who had destroyed an entire battalion on Titan Prime. A myth. A monster in human skin. The armored soldier lowered his shield. You came for the wrong human, he said coldly. The aliens hesitated. The child stood behind the soldier now, eyes wide with hope and fear. Then, without a word, the human moved. He was faster than they could follow. A blur of motion, a flash of light. The first alien fell, armor sliced open. The others fired wildly, missing every shot. The leader screamed, Fall back. Fall. But before he could finish, the soldier raised his hand. A pulse of blue energy spread out, knocking them all to the ground. The forest lit up with light and sound. Birds fled into the sky. When the smoke cleared, the aliens were gone. Some dead, some crawling away in panic. The child stood trembling, staring at her rescuer. The human turned to her. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice softer now. She shook her head. They said they would take me away. They said humans are dangerous." The soldier looked toward the stars. His voice was quiet. "They're right." The child looked up at him, confused. "Who are you?" He didn't answer right away. The blue light in his helmet dimmed slightly. Finally, he said, "Call me Sentinel." Far above, something roared in the sky, a sound like engines awakening. Sentinel looked up. The hunt wasn't over. Not yet. He placed his hand on the child's shoulder. "Stay close. More are coming." And then, through the fog, the forest trembled again. A deeper, heavier sound echoed from the distance. The Korth reinforcements were arriving. Sentinel raised his weapon, his armor glowing brighter than before. "Let them come," he said quietly. "I've been waiting." The ground was still shaking when the forest fell silent again. Smoke drifted between the black trees. The smell of burnt metal hung in the air. The child held tightly to the soldier's hand, her small fingers trembling inside his armored grip. Above them, the night sky glowed red. Something huge was coming down through the clouds, a ship, smooth and black like a blade. The air around it rippled with energy. The Korth reinforcements had arrived. The soldier, Sentinel, looked up. His armor sensors showed dozens of life forms inside the ship. Hunters. Soldiers.
Drones. They were spreading out fast.
He didn't move.
He didn't speak.
He just watched the ship descend, calm as stone. The child looked at him, scared but curious. "You're not afraid?" she asked quietly. He didn't answer. His helmet turned slightly toward her. Then he said, in a voice deep and steady, "Fear's a weapon, kid. Don't hand it to the enemy." The ship roared as it landed in the clearing nearby. The doors opened, and bright white light flooded the jungle. Tall alien warriors stepped out, armored in steel and bone. They carried long rifles that hissed with energy. Their leader raised his hand and pointed straight at Sentinel. "There he is, the human warrior." Sentinel pushed the child behind a fallen tree. "Stay down. Don't run unless I tell you." She nodded, her eyes wide. The aliens formed a line. A dozen plasma rifles charged up, glowing with deadly light. Sentinel stood alone in front of them, his armor humming with power. The leader shouted something in his alien tongue. The hunters opened fire. Bolts of blue plasma shot through the forest. The ground exploded in bursts of dirt and fire. Trees fell. The light was blinding. But when the smoke cleared, Sentinel was still standing. A shimmering shield surrounded him, a sphere of glowing blue energy. Plasma bolts hit it and dissolved like raindrops on glass. Inside the shield, Sentinel's voice came through the smoke.
"Calm. Cold.
Your weapons are outdated." He dropped the shield and raised his arm. The armor shifted, forming a heavy weapon, part cannon, part blade. He fired once. A beam of light cut through the night, silent and fast. 3 aliens fell instantly. The rest screamed and charged. Sentinel moved like water, swift, perfect, deadly. His armor amplified every strike, every motion. He dodged blasts, countered blows, and cut through the enemy ranks with surgical precision. Sparks flew. Trees burned. The jungle became a battlefield. The child peeked over the fallen tree, eyes wide. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. One man, just one, was fighting an army. An alien crept behind her, hissing. Before it could grab her, a flash of metal moved past. Sentinel appeared between them, catching the alien's wrist midair. He twisted, bones cracked, and the creature fell with a cry. Sentinel didn't look back. "Told you to stay down," he said quietly. I tried," she whispered. He looked at her for a second. Behind the glowing helmet, his voice softened just a little. You did good. Then he turned back to the fight. The alien leader, furious, shouted to his troops, "He can't fight forever. Surround him." But the ground began to shake again, not from their ship, but from Sentinel's armor powering up. The plates on his back opened, releasing waves of energy. Small drones shot out, glowing blue, circling him like metal hawks. "Target lock," said an electronic voice from his suit. "Engage," Sentinel replied. The drones fired beams of light that cut through the ranks of aliens. Explosions lit the jungle. Fire spread fast. The alien leader staggered back, roaring in anger. "What are you, human?" Sentinel walked toward him slowly, his boots crushing the burnt grass. "The last mistake you'll ever hunt." He raised his weapon again. The alien fired first, but Sentinel caught the plasma bolt in midair with a magnetic field, redirected it, and sent it flying back. The blast hit the leader's chest. He fell, armor cracking, smoke rising. The remaining aliens began to retreat, dragging their wounded. The Korth ship started to lift off again, engines whining. Sentinel aimed his cannon at it, but stopped when he felt a small hand on his arm. "Don't," the child said softly. "You'll kill them." He looked down at her, silent for a moment. Then he lowered his weapon. "They'll be back," he said. She nodded. "I know." The ship disappeared into the clouds, leaving the burning jungle below. Sentinel knelt beside her, scanning her vitals with a flick of his wrist. "You need medical attention. There's a human outpost nearby. We move now." But the child shook her head. "They'll find us again, won't they?" "Yes," he said simply. "They won't stop." She looked at him curiously. "Then why are you helping me?" For a moment, there was silence. Then Sentinel replied, "Because someone once helped me when I was small and afraid. Now it's my turn." He turned away, his armor glowing faintly under the broken moonlight.
"Come on."
"We have a long way to go." They started walking through the smoke and ash, two small figures against a burning world. Above them, far beyond the clouds, something enormous moved in orbit, a massive Korth mothership. Inside it, alien eyes watched the scene through scanners. One of them spoke in a low, cold voice. "The ghost has returned. Prepare the fleet. We hunt again." The night was no longer silent. Smoke rolled between the trees, glowing red from the fires burning all around. The air was thick and hot, heavy with the scent of metal and ash. Sentinel's armor hissed as its cooling vents released steam. He stood still, scanning the forest. His sensors picked up movement, many of them, fast and closing in. "They're regrouping," he said quietly. The child clutched his arm. "But you beat them." He shook his head slowly. "That was the first wave." Before she could speak again, the trees around them began to shimmer. Shapes appeared, alien figures fading out of invisibility. The Korth hunters were back, dozens of them, their armor flickering like glass. They surrounded the clearing, weapons drawn, silent and cold. One of them hissed, voice filled with hatred. "You cannot win, human. You are alone." Sentinel turned his head, his blue visor glowing brighter. "You're wrong," he said. "I'm never alone." The aliens fired all at once. Plasma bolts tore through the air, bright as lightning. Sentinel jumped, rolled, and returned fire in one motion. His cannon roared, the ground shaking with every shot. Trees shattered. Aliens fell. The child hid behind a fallen trunk, covering her ears. The sound was deafening. Sentinel moved like a ghost. Fast, efficient, without hesitation. Every step was planned, every attack precise. He didn't fight like a man, he fought like a machine built for war. Still, there were too many of them. Drones swarmed overhead, firing green beams that burned through the trees. Sentinel raised his arm and deployed his shield, blocking the shots. Sparks flew around him like stars. "Adaptive defense active," said the voice in his helmet. "Good," he muttered, "because this is about to get messy." He switched modes, his cannon folded away, replaced by twin blades glowing blue. He charged into the swarm. The aliens weren't ready for close combat. Sentinel cut through them like lightning through paper. Metal screamed. Energy crackled. For every alien that fell, two more appeared. The child peeked through the smoke. She saw him surrounded, outnumbered, yet unstoppable. He didn't retreat once. One alien tried sneaking around, heading straight for her. He moved quietly, his blade ready. But just as he leaped forward, a small drone shot out from the shadows and blasted him backward. The child gasped. The drone hovered near her, scanning her face. Its voice was soft and metallic. "You are protected. Stay behind cover."
She nodded, amazed.
Meanwhile, Sentinel was bleeding energy. His armor was cracked, his shield generator flickering. A plasma bolt hit his shoulder plate, burning through the metal. He stumbled for the first time. The alien leader saw it and shouted, "Now, bring him down." The hunters rushed him all at once. Sentinel gritted his teeth, slamming his fist into the ground. The armor's core glowed red. "Overdrive mode," he growled. A shockwave blasted out in all directions. Trees bent. Rocks shattered. The aliens were thrown through the air like leaves in a storm. Sentinel stood up again, smoke rising from his armor. His voice was cold. "Still think I'm alone?" He raised his arm, and more drones shot out from his armor, forming a circle around him. They connected beams of energy, creating a spinning wall of light. The few surviving aliens tried to shoot through it, but their bolts melted before reaching him. Inside the circle, Sentinel spoke to his AI. "Target data upload. We need their command unit." "Command signal traced," replied the voice. 1 kilometer north. He turned toward the direction of the signal. The child stepped out, shaking. "Where are you going?" He looked back at her. "To finish this." "You can't leave me," she cried. He walked toward her, crouched down so their eyes met through the blue visor. "I won't. You'll follow the drones. They'll keep you safe." Tears filled her eyes. "Will you come back?" He paused for a moment, then said softly, "I always come back." He stood, turned, and ran into the forest. His armor roared to life, jets on his back firing blue flames. He disappeared into the trees, a streak of light moving faster than sound. The drones surrounded the girl, projecting a protective field around her. One of them spoke in a calm tone. "Remain still. Do not panic. The Sentinel will return." The forest echoed with distant explosions. The sky flashed with fire. Somewhere in the distance, alien ships crashed through the clouds. Sentinel was on the move, running, leaping, destroying everything in his path. He reached a wide clearing where a massive alien walker stood, its legs like towers, its weapons spinning up. It was their command unit. The walker fired. Sentinel dove aside, the blast tearing a crater into the ground. He sprinted forward, sliding under its legs, slicing at the joints with his blades. Sparks rained down. The walker staggered. "Now," he shouted. His drones responded instantly, diving from the sky and attaching to the walker's hull. A second later, boom! It exploded, lighting up the entire forest. The shockwave reached the child's hiding spot. She shielded her face as heat rushed past. Then everything went quiet again. Smoke drifted. Ash fell like snow. A figure appeared in the distance, walking through the haze. Sentinel, armor cracked, steps slow but steady. The child ran to him. "You're hurt." He looked down at her and managed a faint smile. "Just another day at work." Before they could rest, his sensors beeped again. He looked up at the sky. Far above, a shadow covered the moons, a massive alien ship descending slowly, blocking the stars. The child whispered, "What is that?" Sentinel's visor glowed brighter. "That," he said, "is the real problem." He turned toward her, voice low but sure. "We're going up there." The child blinked. "Up there? To their ship?" He nodded once. "If they want Earth's children, then it's time Earth knocks on their door." The jungle was quiet again, too quiet. The flames had burned out, leaving only smoke and glowing ashes scattered across the ground. Sentinel stood in the middle of the ruined forest, armor dented, one shoulder plate half melted, power levels dropping. His breathing was slow, steady, mechanical. Beside him, the child watched the sky. The alien mothership still hovered above the clouds, its shadow so large it covered the moons. It looked like a floating fortress, a black monster in the sky, waiting. Sentinel tapped his wrist console. The hologram flickered to life, showing a map of the planet. Red dots blinked across it, Korth signal beacons. "They're scanning for us," he said. The child's voice was small. "Why won't they stop?" He turned off the hologram and looked at her. "Because they think you're important." "Me," she said, confused. "I'm just me." Sentinel crouched down, the blue light from his helmet reflecting in her eyes. "Not to them. The Korth believe human DNA carries something they can't understand. Strength. Adaptation. The reason they lose every war against us." She frowned. "But I'm not strong." He shook his head. "Strength isn't about muscles. It's what happens when everything tries to break you, and you keep standing anyway." The girl looked down, silent for a moment. "My parents said something like that too." At that, Sentinel's visor dimmed slightly. "Your parents," he repeated. "Tell me about them." She hesitated. "They were scientists. They worked in a place called Arc-7. They said they were studying something inside me." "Inside you?" She nodded slowly. "They said I was part of a project. Something about regeneration. Healing cells. I didn't understand." Her voice trembled. "Then the aliens came. They took them. They wanted me too." Sentinel's armor stiffened. He remembered Arc-7, a secret research outpost. Rumors had said the scientists there were working on a project to make humans immune to alien bioweapons. A child test subject, it made horrible sense now. "They didn't just come to hunt you," he said quietly. "They came to steal what's inside you." The girl looked at him, scared. "Can they do that?" "If they get close enough," Sentinel said, standing. "But they won't." He turned toward the horizon. A faint orange glow pulsed in the distance, the Korth beacon tower. That's where the signals were coming from. He activated his helmet scanner. Multiple power sources. Biostorage units. They're keeping something there. She tugged on his arm. "We can't go there. There'll be more of them." "That's exactly why we're going," he said. "If they took your parents, that's where they'll be." The girl froze. "My parents, they're alive." Sentinel didn't answer right away. "Maybe," he said. "But we won't know unless we check." He started walking toward the glow. The forest was dark, filled with mist. Strange sounds echoed in the distance, alien creatures moving between the trees. The girl followed close behind. "You've fought them before, haven't you?" Sentinel nodded. "Long ago. On Titan. On Europa. On Mars. Every time they come, they think humans will break." He looked back at her. "Every time, they learn we don't." They reached a cliff overlooking the alien base. The ground below was covered in strange black structures that pulsed like living things. Lights moved along the walls, organic machines breathing. Sentinel zoomed in with his visor. Inside one of the structures, he saw rows of glass tubes filled with glowing blue liquid. Inside each one floated people. Humans. The girl gasped. "That's them. That's my mom." Sentinel's chest tightened. "Cryotubes," he said. "They're using them for experiments." He crouched down, analyzing the pattern of the guards. Security is heavy. Drone patrols every 30 seconds. Automated turrets. Energy barriers. The girl whispered, "How will we get in?" He looked at her, then at his own cracked armor. Quietly, he powered down his armor lights until only a faint glow remained. "Stay behind me. Step where I step. Don't speak." They moved like shadows down the cliffside. The ground was soft and silent under their feet. When they reached the outer wall, Sentinel placed his hand on the surface. The armor hummed as it interfaced with the alien tech. "Can you open it?" she whispered. "I can," he said. "But the moment I do, they'll know we're here." She bit her lip. "Then we should be fast." He glanced at her, small, frightened, but determined. A faint smile crossed his face beneath the helmet. You remind me of someone I knew once, he said softly. She didn't run either. The door hissed open. Inside, the air was cold and smelled of chemicals. Blue lights blinked across the ceiling. They stepped into a long hallway lined with cryotubes. Inside them, men and women floated in silence, eyes closed, frozen in time. The girl ran to one tube, pressing her hands against the glass.
Mom.
Dad. Sentinel scanned the control panel.
Alive.
Low vitals, but stable. He started working to unlock the tubes, but before he could finish, an alarm began to blare. Red lights flashed across the hallway. They know, he said. A heavy voice echoed through the speakers. Human soldier. We've been waiting for you. Sentinel looked up. In the reflection of the glass, he saw a tall figure stepping out from the shadows. The alien commander. Twice the size of the others. His armor pulsed red with energy, eyes burning like fire. You've made a mistake coming here, the commander said. You think you protect the child, but she belongs to us. She carries what your species stole from the stars. Sentinel drew his weapon slowly. You want her? Come take her. The commander smiled with rows of sharp teeth. Gladly. The walls shifted. Dozens of armored aliens poured in, weapons ready. Sentinel pushed the girl behind him and activated his last shield generator. The child's mother opened her eyes inside the tube, still weak but awake. She saw Sentinel standing in front of her daughter, surrounded by enemies. Her lips formed one word: run. The alarm was still echoing through the alien base when the walls began to shake. Red lights flashed and warning symbols spread across the floor like veins. Sentinel stood in the middle of the chaos, surrounded by armed Korth soldiers. His armor was cracked, sparks leaking from one side of his chest plate. The child clung to the edge of a cryotube, her eyes wide, staring at him in terror. The alien commander stepped forward, his massive shadow stretching across the floor. You can't win, human. You bleed. You break. And soon, your kind will be nothing but a memory. Sentinel tilted his head slightly. You talk too much. The commander raised his arm to strike, but before his weapon could fire, Sentinel slammed his fist into the floor. A burst of blue energy exploded outward, knocking the nearest aliens backward. The lights flickered. Time to leave, Sentinel said. He grabbed the child's hand and pulled her toward the exit. Behind them, the alien commander shouted, Seal all exits. Do not let them escape. Doors slammed shut one by one, heavy metal walls locking into place. Sentinel didn't slow down. His armor emitted a high-pitched hum as the flight thrusters on his back came online. The child's voice trembled. We can't go that way. It's closed. Sentinel didn't answer. He aimed his cannon at the ceiling and fired. The blast tore through the metal, revealing the night sky above. Hold tight, he said. Before she could respond, he lifted her into his arms and fired the thrusters. Blue fire erupted behind him as they shot upward through the smoke and flames. The base grew smaller beneath them, alarms fading away into the distance. But freedom didn't last long. The moment they broke through the clouds, alien fighters appeared, sleek, black, insect-like ships with glowing red wings. They swooped down, firing plasma bolts that sliced through the air like lightning. Sentinel weaved between them, his thrusters roaring. Hold your breath, he said. The girl buried her face against his armor as they shot through the sky. One of the alien ships cut across their path, blocking the way. Sentinel twisted midair, using the fighter's momentum against it. He landed on top of the ship, dragging the child with him. Stay low, he said, pressing her flat against the metal hull. Then he drove his fist straight into the ship's control panel. Sparks flew, and the alien pilot screamed inside. The fighter spiraled out of control. Sentinel ripped open the canopy and threw the pilot out into the clouds. The girl screamed as they started falling, but Sentinel grabbed the controls, stabilizing the ship just in time. He slid into the pilot's seat, eyes glowing through the visor. All right, let's see how this thing flies. The alien fleet turned toward them. Dozens of fighters. Too many to count. Sir, said the AI voice from his armor, this is suicide. Not if we aim high, Sentinel replied. He yanked the controls. The stolen fighter roared upward, breaking through the storm clouds. Plasma blasts chased them like fireflies. One grazed their wing, spinning the ship sideways. Sentinel gritted his teeth and forced it back under control. Are we going home? The girl shouted over the noise.
No, he said.
We're going to the source. The clouds parted, and the sky filled with darkness. Above them hung the Korth mothership, so massive it looked like a floating continent. The lower half glowed with orange energy veins that pulsed like a heartbeat. The child's eyes widened. We're going toward it? Sentinel smirked behind his helmet. Best defense is a good offense. He flipped a switch on the ship's console. Linking fusion drive. Overclocking engines. Hang on. The ship jolted forward at impossible speed, flames streaking behind it. The Korth fighters gave chase, forming a storm of plasma fire. Sentinel weaved between them, flying straight toward the mothership's docking bay. The alien commander's voice came through the comm system, mocking. You dare attack a warship, human? You've already lost. Sentinel's voice was calm. You still don't get it. You're on my planet now. He fired all remaining missiles straight into the docking bay's shields. The explosions shook the mothership, tearing through its energy barriers. He dove straight through the chaos, the stolen fighter blazing with light. Inside the docking bay, alarms went wild. Soldiers ran for cover as the fighter came crashing in. Sentinel opened the cockpit at the last second, wrapped his arm around the child, and jumped clear. The ship smashed into the wall behind them, exploding into a storm of fire and debris. They landed hard on the hangar floor, Sentinel's armor absorbing most of the impact. The girl coughed from the smoke, staring at the burning wreckage. You're crazy, she said, half terrified, half amazed. Probably, he said, reloading his weapon. But it worked. He looked around. The hangar was full of alien tech, fighters, drones, weapons, strange glowing crystals floating in containment fields. 1,000 questions raced through the girl's mind, but Sentinel was already moving. He scanned the air. Their power core is deep inside. If we destroy it, the entire ship goes down. The girl hesitated. But my parents? What if they're here? He stopped. For the first time, his voice softened. Then we'll find them first. Outside the hangar's wide windows, the planet glowed below them. Tiny, blue, fragile. The stars stretched endless beyond. Sentinel looked up at the massive glowing corridors ahead. Stay close. This place is a maze. As they started forward, alien voices echoed through the ship's speakers. The commander's tone was calm but sharp. You can't hide here, Ghost of Titan. This ship is alive. It knows your heartbeat. Sentinel's visor flared. Then it knows fear. The lights around them flickered. Strange whispering sounds filled the halls. The mothership seemed to be waking up, as if aware that something dangerous had entered it. Sentinel raised his weapon. Let's make this quick. The corridors of the mothership pulsed like veins under living skin. Every wall seemed to breathe, slowly expanding and contracting, as if the ship itself were alive and aware of its unwanted guests. Dim orange light bled from the cracks in the floor, and a low, steady hum echoed through the air like a heartbeat. Sentinel moved cautiously through the glowing halls, his boots silent against the metal flesh hybrid floor. The child followed close behind, clutching the back of his damaged armor. Her eyes darted from one shifting shadow to another. Why does the ship feel alive? She whispered. Because it is, Sentinel said. The Korth grow their ships. They merge metal with organic matter. Every wall here listens. Every light here watches. The girl's grip tightened. Then it knows we're here. He nodded. It's known since the moment we entered. A soft mechanical voice came from his helmet. Warning, internal sensors detecting movement on all sides. Hostiles converging. Sentinel raised his weapon. Let them come. They turned a corner and entered a massive chamber. It was filled with giant pods that floated in green-blue liquid, each one connected to glowing cables that ran into the walls. The pods pulsed in rhythm with the ship's heartbeat. The child's eyes widened. What are those? Sentinel moved closer. Inside one of the pods, he saw something human, a body suspended in the liquid. Pale, motionless, but unmistakably human. He froze. They're not just soldiers, he said slowly. They're experimenting on humans. The girl ran to another pod, wiping the fog off the glass. She gasped. That's my mom. Sentinel checked the console beside it. Vitals low, but alive. Tears welled in the girl's eyes. Can you get her out? Maybe, he said, typing commands on the alien screen. The interface shifted colors, alive and resisting his touch. But the system's linked to the ship's core. If I break one, I trigger the alarms. Before he could decide, the lights in the room dimmed, and then, from the far side of the chamber, came the sound of heavy footsteps. A tall figure stepped from the shadows, armor gleaming like obsidian glass. His face was hidden behind a mask of bone. His voice was deep and resonant, echoing through the hall. You shouldn't have come here, human. Sentinel straightened. You must be the commander. The alien's crimson eyes glowed. You have no idea where you stand. This ship is not a vessel. It is a womb for the next evolution of life. Sentinel aimed his weapon. Funny. Looks more like a prison to me. The commander smiled, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. You think you fight for that child, for your people. But your kind carries what we lost centuries ago, the spark that refuses extinction. We will take it back. The girl stepped back, trembling. What do you mean? The commander's gaze fell on her. You, little one, are the key. Your body heals faster. Your mind adapts quicker. You are the next step in the Korth's rebirth. Not happening, Sentinel said flatly. The commander tilted his head. You can't stop it. Even now, this ship feeds on your presence. It studies you. It learns. The floor beneath them rippled, and black tendrils emerged from the metal, living cables reaching towards Sentinel and the girl. Run! Sentinel shouted. The child darted behind a console. Sentinel fired at the tendrils, slicing through them with bursts of plasma. The alien commander moved faster than expected, lunging forward with a blade that hummed with energy. Sentinel blocked with his forearm shield. Sparks flew. The two collided with the force of thunder, weapons clashing, echoing through the chamber. The commander's strength was monstrous. Each strike shook the floor. Sentinel countered with quick, sharp movements, using precision instead of power. You fight like a machine, the alien hissed. And you talk too much. Sentinel shot back, slamming his fist into the commander's chest. The alien stumbled but didn't fall. Impressive. But your armor is failing. You're only delaying what must happen. Behind them, the girl was working on the console. She remembered how her parents had taught her to read alien code, how the symbols changed color when systems linked. Her fingers moved quickly across the glowing surface. Sentinel, she shouted. I think I can release the pods. Do it, he yelled. The commander lunged at her, but Sentinel intercepted, tackling him into a pillar. The impact shattered glass and sent alien fluid pouring across the floor. The girl pressed the final command. One by one, the pods cracked open. Humans fell out, gasping for air, weak, disoriented, but alive. Among them, a woman stumbled forward. The girl's eyes filled with tears. Mom, they ran to each other, holding tight. Sentinel saw them and felt something he hadn't felt in years, a flicker of peace. Then the ship roared. The walls turned crimson. A voice echoed in every direction, cold, mechanical, inhuman. Core breach detected. Purging intruders. The commander laughed through blood. You doomed them all, human. The ship will erase this entire section. Sentinel stood over him, his visor glowing bright blue. Not if I erase it first. He turned to the child and her mother. Get to the escape decks. Follow the drones.
Go now.
The woman shook her head. You'll die if you stay. Maybe, he said. But if I don't, no one leaves alive. He pressed a command on his wrist. Drones detached from his armor and surrounded the girl and her mother, projecting a blue shield.